Gomes hits it in the air to left field. Quinton going back, looking up, it is gone! Jonny Gomes, pitch hit, walk-off home run!
The team is called the Savannah Bananas, and if their name seems a little unusual, wait until you see them play.
Jonny Gomes with a little DJ set as he comes on up to home plate.
How do you make baseball fun? We celebrate everything.
Savannah Bananas are a baseball team with one goal, to make baseball fun.
Don't call it a comeback.
Well, you remember World Series champion Jonny Gomes? Well, he's back, and so is baseball.
Yeah, but for the record, we're not talking about Major League Baseball. Gomes is making his comeback with the most entertaining team in all of baseball, the Savannah Bananas.
And you know I'm a gamer, so I got to talk about the game sometimes. And Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is making its comeback. So from Wondery, I'm Ryan Shazier.
And I'm Dave Damashek.
And this is Don't Call It a Comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been waiting on this moment my whole life. Can't call it a comeback. Everybody to your feet, make arenas rise. Yeah, I'm saying from the left to right, we get it on tonight. We do it all, but we don't back down. Just give me one shot, one chance, I'ma take it. Fixing up the game, but these records I keep on breaking.
All right, let's get into this. Jonny Gomes won World Series rings with the Red Sox in 2013, then the Royals in 2015 as part of his 14-year career before retiring in 2016. He tried broadcasting and coaching for a few years. Then he realized he still wanted to play ball. In 2022, Gomes got his chance at a comeback, kinda, sorta.
He is a World Series champion. Give it up for Jonny Gomes!
Gomes plays for the Savannah Bananas, who are basically baseball's answer to the Harlem Globetrotters.
It's a circus with baseball taking center stage is what it becomes. I mean, that's in the middle ring right there is a baseball game, and surrounded all around it, all that stuff, all the sideshow stuff is what really makes the circus itself so special.
Now Johnny's one of a handful of former pros who make regular appearances with the Bananas, entertaining fans and playing the game they love. The Bananas have sold out every game so far this season, and fans are loving their take on America's pastime.
The players play better when the fans are having a better time.
For more on how the Savannah Bananas are making baseball fun again, we've got, guess who? Jonny Gomes, right now, live. Hey, Jonny, what's happening, man? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to be here.
Hey, what's up, Jonny, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Little sore, not going to lie to you, little sore. Just ran together some games with the Bananas, playing left field, hitting, running around, trying to chase the 23-year-olds. So, yeah, them ice baths are pretty crucial these days.
Hey, speaking of the Bananas, like, tell me how that team in Savannah convinced you to join their roster.
I mean, they're literally taking over. I mean, they really are. Now, this isn't like a competition with MLB by any means. I like to, go back in the basketball platform to when the Harlem Globetrotters came in, and then the And One basketball came in, and man, did they have so much success. Now, it really takes a really brilliant guy, a lot of brainstorming and a big crew to make baseball into a show. Because I'll be biased over here and say it's, probably the hardest sport to perform. And then let alone throw tricks in there and trick play. It's hard to hit a ball, let alone hit a ball on 10-foot stilts. It's hard to throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, let alone do it while it's on fire in a flaming ball. Or the rodeo, jumping out of a bull or jumping out of a barrel and throwing the ball. But, man, they've done nothing less and absolutely nail it. And they're doing a U.S. tour right now. And they're jumping on planes, jumping on buses, selling out arenas in an average of about like 22 minutes, which is unbelievable. So I'm happy to be on board.
Well, because it's fun. Like we say, it's pretty much a straight line. Where does that come from? So, Jonny, you obviously a lot of time in Major League Baseball clubhouses. Where does the how shall I say, the tight ass stuff come from? Like who? I feel like it exists at a player level to some degree. We see catchers all the time berating opposing guys for not running it out. Who decides that we have to abide by these, this arch kind of jive in the 21st century?
Well, man, I mean, I just think anytime you kind of take a step back and see where MLB is now with the TV ratings, with the fan base, and then you got to throw on what these players are making. And this is a big, big platform. Tens of millions of dollars is light right now. You know, I mean, these guys are getting upwards of 40 mil. And in baseball, 162 games, believe it or not, your career and your everything is on the line every night, every pitch. So it's definitely intense. Some of the not so good teams in the past are now good. It's no longer like, there's probably 3 or 4 maybe that are going to win the World Series. I mean, it's up for grabs. You see teams like San Diego. You see teams like the Mets going all in the offseason. The fans are up. The ticket sales are up. So, yeah, it's a big, big show right now.
So, with you saying that, Johnny, what is it like playing for the Bananas that's different than Major League Baseball?
I say Major League Baseball as a whole, as a player at the highest level, is nothing less than just like a chess match. I mean, baseball is really hard, right? I mean, you can have a scouting report that you're locked into that you'll execute like 3 weeks down the road. Every pitch, every series, there's mass amounts of like meetings and paperwork and sabermetrics with the shift and where to play the defense and where to pitch the guy. So believe it or not, like fun isn't probably in the top 10 as a player. It really isn't. Maybe, you know, you see the excitement of a home run, you see excitement of a great play, but in reality, playing a game from inning 1 to 9 isn't, I'd say, fun. It's every bit of job. It's every bit of grind. There's a lot on the line. So having the opportunity to play at the big leagues for a long time and then be able to play a 9-inning game and just have a ball. At the same time, sure, we're trying to get a hit. Sure, we're trying to make a great play. But it's, you know, as Jesse, the owner, says, it's fans first, right? So if we go fans first and then the rest will fall in, it's an outstanding platform.
How many guys in Major League Baseball talk to you about being jealous? I think that I completely hear what you're saying. This is multi-billion-dollar industry and everything else. This is serious business. But on some level, you know, I think baseball rightly is knocked over the last decade or two as being a little bit less fun than the other major sports. Do the Major League guys reach out to you and say, how can we inject some of that into our clubhouse here at the Major League level?
I wouldn't say inject it into their clubhouse because, like I said, I mean, you can be a fan of Savannah Bananas and you can be a fan of MLB in your ball club, but as a traditional guy and, you know, got some old school roots in me, I really wouldn't want MLB to take on these rules. Are they fun to watch? Are they fun to play with? Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, I think once you take some of these quirky and fun rules, you'll kind of lose, you know, that how important the playoffs are and how important the World Series are and how important our record book is in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. We don't want to mess with the history of the game, which has built our game. But at the same time, let's be fans of the Savannah Bananas and watch that style of ball too.
Yeah, so I love that you said, you know, how much work you put into, you know, between the games, because most people don't understand that. You know, most people just think you just go out there and play. I remember one of my cousins, he had came up to visit me. He was like, man, why you keep saying it's a job? Why you keep saying it's a job? You just get to go play football. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I work a 9 to 5. You get to just play football. I was like, all right, cool. Come to work with me one day. So I asked Coach Tomlin if he can come to work with me, and because I told him the reason and why. He was like, oh yeah, no problem. And basically, he did the whole day with me. And then after that day, he was like, hey Ryan, I just want to let you know, I want to tell you I'm sorry, because your day is a lot harder than mine.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, if you want to do it together or something, I mean, if you want to do a day in the life of a major leaguer, I've done a couple of them, especially in the off season, and the media person ends up getting tired, right? They're like, all right, this is enough. I got to go. I go, man, we're doing double days today. We just got started. Yeah, there's, especially during the season, right? So play 162 games in about 180 days. So there's no time for practice. So you have to get your practice in before the game, and how much you practice because you have a game. That's a reason why, you know, our sport's different from others with our minor leagues that we have, is there's a lot that you have to figure out, you know, with your body and your routine and this and that, just to be able to shine at the big league level. Yeah, it's a grind.
But now you're doing, as you say, the more fun alternative here. Do you divide practice time from, you know, taking ground balls and batting cage? And do you actually practice any of the entertainment stuff? Do you have brainstorm sessions like comedy shows have writers' rooms that come up with ideas? Let's try this out. Do you guys sit around at the player level? Do you have writers? How does that all go down?
All the above, man. All the above. I mean, there's not a day or a second that goes by without an idea getting thrown out. And all these ideas are to benefit the platform of the Savannah Bananas. Let's light something on fire. Let's do a handstand. Let's do a trick play. And they're starting to execute now. I mean, they got outfielders now that are catching routine fly balls into a backflip. You got outfielders out there dropping their glove and catching it barehanded. All started with ideas, all started with practice, and then being able to execute it. And the thing about Savannah Banana baseball is when the ball is in play, it's good, clean, talented baseball. So you still have to execute some of these gimmicks with fielding a ground ball in between your legs, throwing a ball behind the back. You know, fielding a ground ball between your legs, going for the attempt and missing it, it's not like, oh, they almost did it. It's like, that sucks, right? So these guys really have to execute it and practice it. And taking batting practice, getting your swing down, taking ground balls, taking your fly balls are there. But then there's the talent side of things. You know, these guys are out there with their TikToks and their 3-2-2s and all the trick plays that also take a lot of practice. And it's every bit, you know, a production. There's a lot of practice that goes into those 2-hour games.
What do you think of then? So how do we take the spirit of the Savannah Bananas? Because if I'm hearing you right, Gomes, you take great pride, as you should, obviously, in being a Major League Baseball player for as long as you were able to do it, World Series and all of that. How do we bring back some fun into Major League Baseball? Because, I do think the, like, talking baseball is a little saccharine for the younger fan of the 21st century. Yep. Any ideas on how to bridge the gap?
Well, you know, I still, you know, as a traditionalist, don't really want to mess with the game to make it fun, right? But I think what we can do as a whole on the, the Major League side is having these players more accessible, right? You're seeing some of these guys, you know, go on Twitch or whatever and play video games with the guys. You're seeing guys starting to have bigger sponsorships. You're starting to see more like show face off the field. And I think that's what we can do a better job of, is getting these guys off the field more accessible. And then as I bring that idea up, we're talking about 162 games in a season. They don't have the time, right? Nor do they have the energy to do that. So I think there's a happy, you know, medium somewhere along the lines. But, you know, like I mentioned before, like, you know, Major League Baseball, I mean, you're facing Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander back to back. Like, that's not fun. Now, you can change as many rules as you want. It's still not going to be fun. So we got to keep the game where it is right there. They're doing a couple of rule changes to better the game. But as far as like antics and stuff, you know, I would, you know, just be devastated to have an outfielder take a backflip and miss the ball in the 8th inning and the other team gets the lead. Right?
I don't think I hear you on the backflip stuff. I mean, that would be insane if anybody ever actually did something like that. But I'm talking about that there is plainly, I mean, what would you say the percentage is? 50-50 in the league of guys who don't like the bat flipping. They think that's disrespectful. I can't really glean from our conversation here where you come down on that. Are you anti-bat flipping? Like that kind of stuff when people, you know, if you don't run it out after you hit a home run, that's showing the pitcher up. It's that kind of stuff that to me, it's like he's being a human being. He's happy he just did something that's really hard to do. He's not showing anybody up so much as he is celebrating himself and the tough deed he just executed, right? Or where do you come down on that?
I mean, I'm all for bringing the flair in. You know, I really am. And, you know, I think, you know, you saw it first and foremost how important it is with Jazz Chisholm, you know, being on the cover of MLB The Show. You know, people love that style of play. And I had Jad as a young kid over at the Arizona Diamondbacks, and all his little antics are all celebration, and under no circumstances is he trying to disrespect the other team or disrespect the pitcher. He's out there having fun, right? And that's what fun looks like. Now, granted, baseball's a results-driven industry, and it's not fun all the time. So it is good to see, some of these big plays and big home runs celebrated. And I think the game has come a long way. I mean, if you were to do some of this stuff 10 years ago, you can just book, you're getting one right in the back, 95 miles per hour, next to that bat. So I think the game is growing that way, and it's creating, some new fans, and people really enjoy watching it. It's like, not only are you hoping to see this guy hit a home run, but you can't wait to see what the celebration is going to be. Hence the fact of, the NFL has kind of lightened up on some of these, touchdown celebrations.
I liked how you said earlier there, Johnny, you said these kids with their TikToks or something like that. That kind of distinguishes you from the youngsters in the clubhouse there. But, of course, the spaceman Bill Lee is older by year, although I don't know where his head is. He's timeless to me. What's it like being around one of the great sports figures of, in the history of people?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's not doing TikToks. This guy's not doing Instagram for the simple fact that this guy doesn't even have a phone. This guy's phoneless, right? But, I mean, what a remarkable story. I mean, this guy's in his mid-70s out there legit pitching and legit competing. I'm not sure he walked a guy for the Bananas last year. He pitched the bottom half of the inning and the top half of the inning for the Savannah Bananas and again for the MLB alumni. This is just an absolute remarkable story. He faced Johnny Damon the other day, which was just baseball history overload right there. You're talking about a Hall of Famer with a potential Hall of Famer for the Savannah Bananas. Show how big that platform is. But yeah, man, I mean, as these times change, like, you got to change with them. The second you think TikTok's not cool, you're definitely not the cool guy in the room. So yeah, you got to evolve with these kids and understand how they tick and, understand that they're, trying to build their own brand and build excitement for the game. So yeah, that's definitely a driving force. The clubhouse looks a lot different today when you could sit around and watch 5 or 6 TikToks going on at the same time versus, what it used to be. But yeah, times have changed and it's for the better. It's all good.
Ah, that's wild. What a fun experience. Like you say, if you're a baseball fan at all, Bill Lee, Red Sox player against Johnny Damon, then the Yankees, Johnny Damon. I don't even know how hard can Bill Lee throw at this point at 75? What's the high end?
Bill Lee is throwing hard enough to get outs. He really is. He's spinning the ball like you've never seen spinning the ball. I mean, he's got this eephus curveball, which is pretty cool. But yeah, man, he runs it up there. In the name of the game, you throw strikes, you'll get outs, and that's what he does.
Well, it's all super fun. Talk about the Home Run Derby X that you got going.
What a cool platform that is. So some of these other sports, NBA is real big in China. The NFL has done a great job of going to London and going to Mexico City and all these other places. Baseball as a whole in the major leagues is every bit, like I said, the Olympics. It is far from the best, U.S. born athletes competing, night in and night out. It's a global game. So yeah, taking the platform of the Home Run Derby X into some other arenas. Like last year, we went to London, we went to Seoul, South Korea, Mexico City. Again, we're doing it. We'll be in London the same time as the Cubs are playing the Cardinals down in Mexico City. The fans eat it up. What a great way to showcase baseball with a Home Run Derby platform. Spreading, the logo, creating new fans first, fan engagement. And what better platform to travel the globe and hit homers? Like that's what I'm all about.
Well, excellent. Like I say, it's dynamite. What else can you tell us for 2023? Savannah Bananas only rising up, ripening, as they say. Still just a little bit green. Get in now. How best to track down Savannah Bananas baseball this coming summer?
Savannah Bananas, I tell you what, we're playing all the way into the end of September, and you're probably already late on tickets. I mean, these things are sold out all over the country. They have not played in a stadium this year that has not been sold out, and they're already pre-sold out. But you can watch them on YouTube. I think they just got to 5 million followers on TikTok. They're running it up there on Instagram. They're running in, and it can only expand, and it's going to expand. So if you're not following the Bananas right now, you're late to the party. Absolutely. It's a great platform to be behind.
Listen, great catching up with you, Jonny Gomes. Love this transition for you. Love what you're doing for the game of baseball, which can be a little stuffy, and you guys are showing how to make it fun. Thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, you got it. Anytime. We'll come back soon.
Don't call it a comeback.
Thanks again to Jonny for joining us today, and moving on. Time for some other comeback stories in the news we need to give a look at this week. This is the check down. Shazier at long last. Odell Beckham is back, but he signed with the hated Baltimore Ravens. The last time we saw OBJ, he was scoring a touchdown for the Rams in a Super Bowl. Will he ever regain that form?
I definitely feel that Odell Beckham is a very, very solid piece for the Ravens. I think that he's going to be a dynamic player for them because he immediately becomes the number one receiver there. Rashad Bateman's a really good guy, but he got hurt, so we still don't know what he has. And I can see him being a number two to Mark Andrews, almost like a number two to Travis Kelce. You're still the number one receiver, but you're the number two in that offense. And I think him being a number two in that offense, I think Odell can do phenomenal numbers over there. And I think that could really help the Ravens offense, especially if him and Lamar can get on the same page, if Lamar ever makes it back.
Well, that's what you just said there. Yeah, Dobbins and Gus the Bus, two nice backs, and Bateman and Andrews and OBJ, nice pass catchers. The big question is, who's throwing the ball around there? Are you convinced it's Lamar Jackson? Do you think OBJ signing is an indication that Jackson is now comfy enough to return to Charm City?
Me personally, if the Ravens and Lamar don't figure something out, I don't think Lamar's playing this year. But it gives you a strong indication that he is, because Odell had to talk to Lamar for him to want to go to the Ravens, because you're not just going to go to the Ravens just to go, unless that was the biggest offer and he's just going there for money. But for me, I think Odell wants the chance to win. The Ravens, when Lamar is playing, is a very consistent team when being in the playoff race, being in the championship contender race. So I think he had to talk to Lamar, and Lamar is probably figuring something out with the Baltimore Ravens for him to go there.
I kind of agree, but I also think the Ravens have laid bare that they don't mind, and in fact, probably at this point want Lamar Jackson for 23, but the indication is that they don't want him long-term. Ergo, I think they're still hoping that the Colts or Falcons or otherwise step up, make them an offer, and they get a high pick to draft one of those college athletes, whether it's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, probably the sweet spot in moving on from Lamar Jackson altogether. But very interesting stuff with Odell's arrival there in Baltimore. The Masters came back, and now it's already gone again for another year. Although he made the cut after the second day, Tiger Woods was forced to withdraw when his body just couldn't make it through day three. Shazier, do you think we'll ever see Tiger competing, and I mean meaningfully competitive, at Augusta?
There's only a few people that I watched play sports that no matter what position they're in, what situation they're in, I'm not betting against them. Tom Brady's one of them. LeBron James is one of them. Michael Jordan is one of them. Michael Phelps is one of them. And Tiger Woods. And to me, Tiger Woods and Patrick Mahomes. Tiger Woods is one of those guys, if he gets any inclination that he can get somewhere back to his true form, I think we'll be able to see him. It's just the biggest thing that's a struggle for him right now is just the older you get, your body doesn't recover the same as when you were younger. And I think that's what he's going through right now. But I would love to see him. And all I'm going to say is I'm not going to say that I don't think he can compete again. I'm just not going to doubt him. But he's just going to have a long journey. And he's been having long journeys his whole career. So if he can have something that can allow him the opportunity to get back out there, it'll be great. But I just can't doubt him.
The wildest irony with Tiger, his body has been through so much, and it's not just the car wreck, but he's really been beaten up by life over the last 25 years, which is odd because he's so jacked. He's such an anomaly, or at least he was when he made the scene as this weightlifter guy. And the best guys in golf now are John Rahm and his potbelly, and Scotty Scheffler and his weird dad bod, and Phil Mickelson, 50-something years old, dressed like Hollywood Hogan out there being competitive with his bosom and all the rest of it. It is, if nothing else, ironic. But yes, of course, golf is way better when Tiger is involved, wearing the red on a Sunday in a major. It appears teammate fights are making a comeback in the NBA. You had Mason Plumlee and Bones Highland with the Clippers, and then the Timberwolves, Rudy Gobert and Kyle Anderson came to blows in the huddle over the weekend as well. 5-0, what experiences have you had fighting with your teammates?
So I never really got into a fight myself. Me and Le'Veon almost got into a fight, but it was just more Le'Veon Bell. But it wasn't really a fight. We both were just really emotional about what was going on. And it was a day when we didn't have any pads on, and he felt like I got a little bit too close to him. So, as an offensive player, he felt that he wanted to stand his ground, and I felt I wanted to stand mine. But we never really fought. But I had a situation when it was camp. It was about my third year in the league, and it was a guy that was already on the team and a guy that wasn't. I'm not saying any names, but one of them said some type of slur to the other one, and it got pretty feisty pretty fast. One of them ended up with a black eye, and the other one ended up getting cut. So it was pretty funny because the one that got into the situation, he got into the situation because he was just trying to go hard. He was just trying to make the team. And the other guy was like, man, you need to calm down. Like, you're taking this too far. And as a guy that's trying to make a living, you're not about to let somebody else tell you, hey, you're taking it too far. You need to chill out. So I completely understood where he was coming from. But I also understand, the other guy too. Sometimes you're like, oh, man, you're going too hard in practice. But you can't when you have no food in your plate, man, you got to go get it all the time. And, I can see how that fight ended up happening. But unfortunately, he didn't make the team. And the guy that did make the team ended up with a black eye, and we kind of gave him crap for it for that year.
My friend and I, Richie, were the 12th and 13th men on a 12-man basketball team in high school, I being the 13th guy. And our best pal was the starting point guard and the captain. And we would screw around in practice all the time. And his name was Ben. And he would, when we would screw around too much, he would throw the ball at me real hard. He'd be like, just because you aren't going to be playing and can F around all practice long doesn't mean the rest of us still don't need to prepare for a big game. And I'd be like, settle down, nerd. And everybody would laugh at him. And that was my only victory because, of course, I wasn't going to play in the game. My question to you is, Le'Veon Bell, now a pugilist post-football, who would win that fight, Ryan Shazier? In your prime and Le'Veon Bell's prime, who wins that head-to-head?
So the one thing about me, I'm never betting against me, but
another athlete you're never going to bet against.
I'm not. The thing is, to me, is it's like the casino. You bet red or you bet black, and I'm always betting on black. I'm black. I'm like I bet on red sometimes too. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. I'm betting on myself. No matter what, I'm betting on myself. And okay. Even when it's roulette, I'm betting on my number every single time because I'm betting on myself. But the thing is, with Le'Veon, what he has shown now, that he's shown that he's an experienced boxer. He's not competing against, the Earl Spencers of the world and the Tyson Furies of the world. But he's showing that he can box. He's showing people that he's good enough to go out there and entertain people as a boxer. So as of right now, I wouldn't fight Le'Veon because he's working at a craft that I have not worked at. But if it's just a locker room fight, and none of us have boxing experience, I'm going to go on myself every day of the week when it comes to anybody I fight. It could be Tyson Fury. We don't have no boxing experience, and it's just in the street. I'm gonna go with myself, but I'm not gonna take myself against somebody that's a trained fighter, somebody that practices boxing once a week, twice a week, every day of a week, and expect me to go out there and compete against them.
I love your self-confidence, but I also love that you asterisk it. Like, I'm going to bet on myself, but also Levy and Bell's training, so I'm not going to make that fight. You can't lose a fight that you aren't willing to sign on to. Well done, Shazier. Smart move there.
They have guns for guys. Hey, the thing is, once you become a fighter, you have to sign over the rights to fight.
Right. You don't sign it, and then it's just a hypothetical question forever.
You become a killer. Like once your hands are certified as a weapon. So if you're going to hit me with a certified weapon, I'm gonna shoot you with my certified weapon. So I don't even get into that argument.
Mario and Luigi are making a comeback, Shazier, but this time they're appearing in theaters in the new Super Mario Brothers movie. When you play Mario games, which character do you use?
Whew, man, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. I like using Yoshi, but I also like Luigi, and I also like Mario. So I don't know what character I like to use. I like to switch it up all the time. I like to use Luigi. My favorite color is green, but Luigi is not really like my favorite character. So I honestly move all around, man. It just depends what day and what I'm feeling that day when I'm playing Mario. What about you?
Always bet on green. Well, you're going to be stunned to learn this. I've never played Mario Brothers. I played all sorts of video games. I feel like that one slipped through the cracks for me because I'm not so old that I would have missed it. I just never caught it. So I'll go to Universal and see the new ride they have with Super Mario Brothers. Don't know if I'm going to see the movie, though.
That's very shocking to me, especially with your age.
Yeah, I played Sonic the Hedgehog. Isn't that the same window of time?
They had kind of. It's kind of. But I understand you're somebody that's focused, and I was a child, so.
Focused. That I was not. Focused on not doing any homework or paying attention in school. That's what I was focused on. Hey, 10 years after its original release, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is making a comeback. Despite the franchise having released several newer installments in the last decade, this week Black Ops 2 was the most downloaded game on the Xbox Store. Shazier, who's the best COD player in the NFL?
COD player in the NFL, that's a tough one. Man.
How many guys do you play with?
I actually don't play Call of Duty with that many guys in the NFL anymore. I play more of guys just that I know locally. Guys.
Who's the greatest pro athlete video gamer that you know? You can say yourself, but don't do it if you don't really believe it.
Juju's really good. There's a guy, Ola. He used to be really good in like Madden. Everybody's kind of good at a different game because you got to really think about it. Games are basically built off of what you like. So if somebody likes to play a free roam game, and you can they have a game called Red Dead Redemption. So basically, if you want to be a good guy, you want to be a bad guy, you can be that. If it's kind of the same thing with Grand Theft Auto. Then they have sports games. Somebody can be really good at Madden, but be terrible at MLB and baseball. And same thing with hockey and basketball. So it's kind of hard to say who's the best because a lot of guys aren't as versatile when it comes to games. So it's some games guys might get more kills than me in Call of Duty or Fortnite. Like Juju used to be really good at Fortnite. Like Juju might get more kills than me in Fortnite, but I might do better than him in Madden. So everybody's a little bit different when it comes to the video games because it's kind of like they literally have games of whatever you could think about. Like Dave, if you think of a game, they have a game for it. And I used to play Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and that was a really good game. A lot of people liked it. The storyline was good, but then also just the gameplay was really good. And the way the games are now, the Call of Duty this year, a lot of people aren't liking it as much. They don't like the way it plays as much. So I could definitely see why they have a surge of Black Ops 2 because that was a game that a lot of people like to play, and it was a really fun game.
It stands to reason that if you put Andy Reid and Sean McVay or whatever, wouldn't they be the best at Madden, or shouldn't they be theoretically? Or should it be?
So the way Madden works is if you have a great understanding of Madden, that's awesome. But Madden is a video game. So that people understand how to expose video games. And like anything in life, if somebody sees like Bill Belichick, he understands that, hey, this is the rule for when you play football. The ball needs to be between 1 PCI and 1.8 PCI. Well, I'm gonna make it so close to 1 that it doesn't look like it's, but it's not actually one, So people do the same thing in Madden, and they know how to expose it. They understand how people aren't going to cover certain things. So understanding play calling and making sure that they run the right plays, yeah, they'll probably be the best at that. But just the fact of actually the playing it itself, controlling the people and making them do things that you want to do, they will get destroyed because it's too many exploits in the game that people know how to abuse.
That's interesting, knowing how to game the game. That's what Belichick did best. And right, I imagine. Still embarrassing if you're a starting quarterback in the NFL and you stink at Madden. If you have to play as yourself and you're bad, that would make you red in the face, you would think, right?
So I used to play as myself, and a lot of people know how to play with me on a video game, then I know how to play with me on a video game. So because, like, for instance, there are quarterbacks that can play Madden, but if they can't, you have to know how to throw the ball. You have to know how to put accuracy on the ball. You have to know how to put it in certain windows, and you could try to throw it over there, but if you don't know how to get it there the right way, it's not going to happen. So that's a lot of times what happens to people, and that's why a lot of people can't play Madden, or a lot of people get frustrated because, like, even yesterday I was playing the game and I got frustrated because I was trying to throw it behind a linebacker, and the dude jumped up like 10 feet in the air and caught the ball. And it's like, come on now, like, this doesn't make sense, So it's more about just understanding the game's like little nuances that people know how to exploit, and some of them I know, and some of them I just try to play regular football. So
I think people often say from the outside, like, why do these guys care so much about what number they get on Madden? It's you. What's cooler than that? And of course, you want to be represented positively by a video game, but what a trip it must be to flip on Madden and see Ryan Shazier playing there and be able to play as number 50. I'm never going to get to do that, Shazier. You know what? While I go and lick my wounds, I'm going to say that's a wrap. That's it for this episode of Don't Call It a Comeback.
Hey, make sure you follow, rate, and review the show on wherever you're listening. Check us out on the Wondery channel, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. So we'll see you all next week.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been waiting on this moment my whole life. Can't call it a comeback. Everybody to your feet, make arenas rise. Yeah, I'm saying from the left to right, we get it on tonight. We do it all, but we don't back down. Just give me one shot, one chance, I'ma take it. Fixing up the game, but these records I keep on breaking.